Welcome to Season 3, Episode 3 of Lawfully Chaotic. Hey,
Fuck
3
yeah.
Miles, good to see you in
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Hi, hope everybody is doing great tonight. As with me always is Jason Baldrick, the storyteller of TTRPG Academy, one of the great legendary DMs of our time. Legendary. Tonight we are going to be talking about, well, we don't know what we're talking about.
We never know what we're going to talk about because that's the way we like it, baby.
As part of our new format, hey, Dragon Painter, what's going on? How you doing? We don't know what each of us are coming to the table with, so it's just kind of an open, let's just talk about stuff and surprise each other and elicit some real reactions. I do hate it. But hey, how are you, Iberg? I think it's we're gonna try it. Okay, we're going to try it. I hate it because it's really hard for me to plan ahead, and usually it's like 3 o'clock that afternoon. I'm like, I know what I could talk about. So anyway,
3 o'clock. It's more like 10 minutes ago. He was like, "Oh, I finally figured out what I was going to talk about, Baldrick."
Well, we do now have the rant cam, so yes. Before we begin, any announcements, Jason?
Yeah, I mean the Baldur's Gate campaign kicks off on Monday. I also have my Candela Obscura game kicking off Monday night.
Awesome.
Which will be really fun because I've got the full rules now. And my Saturday table, show them the rant cam. Gotta show them.
Oh yeah, you haven't seen the rant cam. Well, god damn it, here it is. Jason made that, and it is uncanny how scary that is.
Yeah, it's uncanny for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah. No soundboard yet. I'm working on OBS. We move slow here at Lawfully Chaotic.
Yeah,
we got a 20-year plan.
We move budget backwards, not budget forwards.
Yeah.
My weekend games are finally filling up. I've only got a couple seats open. My Tuesday game wrapped up, and we just kicked off campaign 3, year 5 for the Tuesday group, which is amazing. And that one I've actually tweaked it a bit where I've added a 6th seat. So that one has 6 players.
Awesome.
Because one of my players was just super awesome about wanting to get back into it. And I'm like, you know what? For you, I make an exception, and we reserved a seat for him. So that was kind of fun. What do you got going on these days?
I just busy. Got all kinds of things going on. Trying to keep up with being better about posting on this channel. Check out, I did post this the other day, but we've got some new t-shirt designs over on Play RPG and Company.
Nice.
Some different versions of the logos here of the devil.
The
chaotic devil. Yes. So go check those out. And please buy my product. Remember that guy?
Yeah, he's got. Don't you have like 20 grandkids to put through?
Yeah, exactly. College? Exactly right. Yeah.
Buy those $12 t-shirts. You'll get it done.
Oh my goodness. Hold on. What do we got here? Okay, so we are live on Instagram also, which is cool. Nice. Hopefully I don't break that by utilizing Instagram in another window to talk about some stuff. So we'll see how successful that is.
Well,
anyway, I'll break it. Yeah. Anyway, what do you got coming to the table? You want to go first?
Oh no, you're going first.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you're going first. I like it when you go first.
Optimism in the find. Okay, so you and I were talking last week about mapping.
I believe we were talking about you doing something about that space up there, and still you didn't do anything. So
up at the top of the screen.
Yeah,
at the top of the screen.
All that empty real estate where you could put really annoying GIFs and like imagery and
Well, I do have a plan for
idolatry
that, and I
and
wanted to roll it out tonight for all of you in chat, and this goes for you too, Jason. If you
uh-huh.
just sit and listen to a 4-hour presentation on this timeshare that I have, you too can own that sponsor space up
You're
there.
so full of shit. I mean, you're literally, I can see it coming out of your ears. But at the same rate, you should put like a cheesy 80s ad up there. Would be
Extra space for
just
it.
funnier than shit.
You know what? I'll be honest. I totally forgot to come up with something for that. So next week we'll fill the top space there with some.
You could
yes, the
pander.
Olive Garden. How
You
else are
could
we going to eat
pander
for
for
4
a
hours? Straight?
soda, or pander for a local
Right?
restaurant.
Now I completely lost my train of thought. I had this detailed presentation. The Thursday game. Yeah, the Thursday game is happening. It is rolling. I am finding players. One of them sitting right over there. There. Shut up. Okay, so anyway,
Rip Van Winkle this shit.
Last week, you and I were talking about mapping, which came from not a realization, but we were talking about, why I don't run more games and stuff like that. And one of the reasons is because I don't have a dedicated studio space. It is my living room. So not only do I have to set up and take down every time there's a game, but my wife and child are then relegated to the upstairs, which, once a week or once every couple of weeks, they don't mind. But if it was 2-3 times a week, I don't want to do that to them. And you said, well, why don't you do it from your computer? And I said, because I don't feel that I have a big enough area for maps. And you said, why don't you get a card table and put it right here? And I said, I actually have a card table. And you said, well, then use it. And I said, well, that's a great idea. But I haven't set it up yet, but it started getting me thinking about an interesting approach to how we map in our role-playing games. And I'll obviously, I will. We got Roll with Chris over on Instagram. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. I'll probably default to D&D since, that is what I always do. But this is obviously for any role-playing game. But, when we were kids, it was obviously just paper maps and minis. And if you had minis, that was awesome. If you had them painted, that was even more awesome.
Yeah, I think I started with bottle caps. We had a kid that really liked to draw little pictures. Mm-hmm. So he'd draw like a token picture that could be stuck to the inside of a bottle cap.
Oh, that's cool.
The bottle caps were our minis, but we just used. You went to the art supply
store. It's like early
store.
Pogs.
Yeah, we just went and no Pogs are early, man. Those are like mid-century, late century Pogs. But you go to the art supply store when they actually used to be a proliferation of art supply stores.
Yeah,
and you would get those big hexed rollout grid paper, and we would just use that was our map.
Yeah, same.
We had pencils for drawing everything, and we had the bottle caps.
Yep, same thing. Yeah. So that was the extent of it, and we got excited if we had actual minis. Like, oh, awesome! Fast forward all the way to today, and I don't have to reiterate what's going on with maps and gaming terrain, right? If we had this shit when I was a kid, oh my god, I would have never left the basement. But the interesting thing was, after talking to you, is that I started to realize that. So I like to have an entire, more than just an encounter, okay? But I use maps and terrain to help tell the story. Now, somebody like Matt Mercer is very theater of the mind and very narrative, okay?
Right.
And he
because we got on the topic about the VTT,
exactly,
Roll20 and all that.
Exactly, right. So, that's why he's able to pull out a single map. Here's the encounter, because he does such a good job of this theater of the mind that people, they go where they need to go, right? And I'm not saying that he railroads people. That's not the part. That's not where this conversation's going. But that affords him the ability, like I said, to do a single encounter and bring it out when he needs it. Now, I always feel like, well, what if they go here? What if they go here? What if they go here? I got to have everything set up because I can't do it in game. So that's why I tend to have larger setups. Okay. And I think the other extreme from the way Matt Mercer does it is kind of like that, or the way Inked Mage does it. I don't know if you've ever seen him, but
Right.
his builds are fucking epic. And he's got an enormous table in his game room. And
I got to be honest with you. I don't know how to run a game like that. Like, I have no clue. Like, I walked into a local game store maybe about a couple years before COVID, and they had 5 giant, like that. They had all these folded tables set up, but the entire tabletop of like almost 100 square feet was a giant game map with miniatures.
So,
like, the party is literally having to show everything that they do on the tabletop, and I gotta be honest with you, I find that fucking annoying. Like,
okay,
my
I
brain
agree
can't
with you
function
there.
with that.
I agree with you there. I don't.
No, you're already condescending yourself. Then
no, I'm not. I'm not, because I don't build out an entire table.
I think you would if you could.
I would, because it would be cool. I don't know that I would actually use it to run it. No, I don't know that I would use it to run a game, because what are you going to do? You're going to do the whole story like in rounds? Like, okay, you move 30 feet. You move 30 feet. That I don't. I'm not saying to that level, okay?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that I generally have more than one encounter ready to go on a map in case somebody decides to do something.
How long are your games? How long are your sessions?
About 3 hours is my usual. Yeah. So again, I just, for me, and I'm trying to transition over to a more scaled down way to do that. Hold that thought. Don't go there yet. God damn it. You just took the whole
leave it to 3 miles down to trigger the rank cannon.
Yeah, so hold on. Hold that thought. So I'm trying to scale down to where I can, and I hate to say it, but Dwarven Forge makes it a lot easier to do this. And we'll just leave it at that. Kind of another love-hate relationship. More love than hate, whereas Games Workshop is 99.9% hate and 0.1% love. But anyway,
the crack of terrain,
yeah, right, yeah, it is. But what it does, and I'm not saying that that's the only
that's the person that literally starts moving his token all over the map,
because we use Roll20,
and that's exactly why I don't use Roll20 and interactive, like inter-party maps.
But Gary started using the Fog of War, which is an awesome feature of Roll20, as much as I don't like the platform.
Yeah, I agree with Dragon. I have always enjoyed isolated encounter presentations, mostly theater of the mind leading up to the encounter, so that you could have, like, right now I have 2 Windjammer skiffs on my table because Tuesday night they fought an aerial battle, right? But it was theater of the mind leading up to it, and then the encounter, and then you go, right? It was like, but like any muscle, you need to play a game that's narrative only.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I
don't think narrative only. So like I said, finish your thought.
So Candela Obscura doesn't use encounter models, doesn't use terrain. It doesn't use any of that at all. It's pure theater of the mind. And I think if you keep a game like that in your inventory that you can play regularly, your transition in between different map styles could be very beneficial.
For games that do use I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think it's like any other exercise, right? You got to exercise that ability.
Right. So I'm trying to make that transition into more theater of the mind in between and smaller encounters that I can be more adept at transferring in and out. So I am moving that direction, mostly to your point, because I'd love to be able to run games from right here and not downstairs, on an ad hoc setup. If I can just move over here and have a second camera, that will be awesome. Well, to do that, I don't have enough room in here for more than a 3.5 by 3.5 card table. I'm
Right.
going to have to start exercising that ability to do that.
Yeah.
Now we get to the digital stuff. Okay. I do not mind VTT. Okay. I mean, in some instances, like for Gary's game, it is, in fact, I think we're playing next Friday, if I'm not mistaken. But we use Roll20 because Gary's running the game and he is not where we are. Okay.
Right.
And we have other players, and most of us are in the same, we're in Illinois, but we're in different suburbs and whatnot. So
Go Digimon.
Digimon.
Go Digimon. Now that's a reference I haven't heard in like a billion years.
So I really do love. I'm gonna stay positive tonight. Okay.
That's bullshit.
I'm not going to talk about the cons for me of virtual tabletop. I'm only going to talk about the pros, and the pros are, the fog of war thing that Roll20 does.
By very definition, a pro is someone that knows what the fuck they're doing, and I'm not really sure he does know what the fuck he's doing. I'm just going to say that right now.
Okay, so anyway, again, you just completely derailed me. Okay, so what I like is, for like Roll20, the way they use fog of war, that is awesome. I love the fact that you can have really stylized and artistic maps, and now we've got isometric views in like Tailspire. You're able to pull in your Hero Forge STL models, which is awesome. And one step up from that, which really has piqued my interest lately, is the holo table. Well, not holographic 3 miles, but the digital play table. Okay. And there is another guy who does
look
animated
at the production quality.
Right?
Look at this production quality. It's almost like you design things to not be covered by other things. This is phenomenal. I know, right? It's almost like you spent at least 20 minutes prepping for this once a week adventure that we go on. Yeah,
21. No, but this guy does animated maps to use. I mean, TVs now are so fucking cheap, right? You can go out and get a 50-inch television for like $250 frickin' dollars, probably less. Stick that in a table, and you've got a fucking hybrid animated map.
Yeah, and there's
you can run, and then you can also run. So you've got to unlock it. Hold on, let me go back to his homepage.
I know
there are some examples.
Drags like so much for the off the script.
But I mean, look at that.
There are interactive ones too. There's about 3 or 4 Kickstarters that are out right now. That look at this. Look at this. So take that, drop it into a table, which would be easy, or just lay it on a table, and then you've also got the terrain on top of it and the minis and whatnot. To me, that is the way to play. That's awesome. And imagine if you could then. They're now doing touchscreen maps.
That's okay. So what I was just going to say, and I haven't read this. This is just me thinking.
Yeah.
If you had minis that interacted with the map itself, like where they were. So if somebody is remote, you could play on this table with the 3 people that are in the one, where you are, but yet the remote people see this projected on their computer screen.
That's the one that 3 Miles is talking about. They have one now where they put a IR feed underneath your miniature.
I'm a genius.
It interacts with the touch tone screen. Now, the other thing that really got off the ground about 2 years ago at the height of the COVID lockdown, they were working on a VR solution for tabletop play.
Now, see, that to me starts to bridge the gap between role-playing game and MMO.
Well, VR in the sense that you put on the VR headset and you're all sitting around a table together.
Are you talking about like Demio on the Oculus?
Yeah, Demio Oculus, yeah. Now, they've been trying to get that to a point where it feels like you're actually around a table. So their immersion philosophy is less MMO and more.
So I'm sitting across the table from you, but I'm looking at your avatar 6 feet away instead of you.
Or it could actually be me if I set up my camera correctly.
Right. Yeah.
And then the game is actually at the table. So you're
Okay, see
rolling
that
dice on the table. You're moving a mini on the table. too.
perfect. Then I love it.
Right.
I
And
think
that's the flavor they've been focusing on
okay,
for the
that
past
I'm
2 or 3
excited to
years.
hear that because and that mini too, the interactive one with the mini, because man, to me, this is the epitome of how to play D&D because
So
this
I do have some
combines
counter. I've tried this before. So I've got a couple counterpoints to this one.
Oh, that's cool.
That I will caution folks. If you go this route, the challenge you have is that none of these screens or TVs were designed to lay flat. They're not designed for this. So their cooling systems, their airflow systems, and the way they're designed, they want to be this way. So you will burn out a TV faster when you lay it out like this.
I never knew that.
Yeah, it's a fact. Now,
okay,
hold on. It happened more with plasma TVs than it did these style of TVs. So a plasma TV would generate so much heat if you didn't maintain it. But as the TVs have gotten lighter, better, made with more plastics and less heat containing, well,
you also got to figure how often are you using this TV if it's a D&D.
I will say I tried to experiment a while ago. The TV is lava. I tried to experience a while ago with a little mini projector, but they hadn't quite gotten small enough or pixelated enough to be of value. But now I've been researching, looking at mini projectors that can sit up in the corner and then bathe the entire studio in a theme.
Yes.
And so now I've been looking at that for that purpose.
And there are people I have seen. There are people that use the projector for the map too. Obviously, that has limitations, But I don't know, man.
You have challenges with distance and
and obviously when you're reaching over the map, you're blocking the projector. But right here on the screen, this combined with that interactive element is like, oh my god, this to me is the ultimate way to play.
Well,
like
especially
a hybrid of digital and physical terrain and hybridized between in the room and remote.
And there's a guy who does these on YouTube where if you subscribe and pay like a $5 monthly, you have access to his YouTube channel so that if you've got a laptop hooked up to the TV, you can just project the YouTube, video that's a map of like a lava pit that's actually burbling and bubbling and stuff like that as well.
Right. I mean, I'm really excited about it. This is fucking fantastic. So consequently, cool. But you that conversation that you and I had inspired me to start thinking about how I could do my actual
you could get
map
a
presentation
32-inch table or a 32-inch TV with a simple card table and just set it down. And to get your screen to pop, you put it on a white surface and then make it so that the white surface will allow the imagery to pop. Because one of the challenges you do have, and if you ever go back to season 1 of Vox Machina, they were having, as they were exploring these options, it's very hard for a camera to pick up this kind of mapping method. There are some challenges. So the better your camera is, the better it can pick up on it.
Well, there's always challenges when you're trying to video a video source.
This does bring up a good point to your Roll20 question, your Roll20 idea. You could take your computer, hook it up to your TV, right? And you can have your Roll20 presented on your TV.
Yeah.
So you could do both the fun of everyone sitting around the screen like this,
right,
and still being interactive with it if you wanted it to be.
Yeah, and still use minis if you wanted to chase them around the.
No, the virtual table will never bankrupt the tactile business.
No,
because to this day, my favorite encounters to run are with my combat cam. To this day, which is more physical and more tactile for sure.
I totally agree. As excited, at first I was resistant to even the VTT stuff. As I've started using it more, I'm seeing the value and the joy in using it. And
it's all about how it allows you to be more adaptive and
But
and more improv, because
yes,
if you have your TV up, if you have Tailspire and you have your battle cam, you have all these little more compact solutions.
Yep.
No matter what game you're like, you could do a board game this way with friends.
Absolutely. Totally.
If you wanted to.
Yeah.
So
but
cool.
like you said, the tactile aspect of the terrain and the minis and the dice, I think that will always, I agree, that will always have a place. For me personally, I will never give that up. But to be able to do both, oh my gosh, this would be awesome. So, anyway, so that's my contribution to the
awesome.
show.
That rocks.
There you go.
So this is where we transition to me. I wish I had a rant cam, because it's going to sound like a rant, because as I conclude campaigns and I go back through things, if I'm
hold on, maybe we should segue this better. So that's what I've got. Jason, what's on your mind lately?
Oh man.
Hold your thought 1 second. Gary, those pixel dice that I've got are finally shipping. I should have them in a month.
Yeah.
It was a Kickstarter, and they are lighted, connected dice that you can supposedly connect to D&D Beyond, which will then use all the APIs for like Roll20 and everything like that. You can fully customize with sounds and sound effects for every single number. So yeah, physical dice as part of
after
the VTT.
2 years.
No, 3. It was. I looked back. I funded that in 2021. Yeah. So anyway,
the supply chains.
I don't know if I'll have them for next week, but anyway. So Gary, Jason, what do you?
So as someone that gets the absolute pleasure and joy of running 12 games a week, I am both inspired by the games I'm running, as well as the folks that play in those games. But I'm beginning to be more kind of consuming of the information I create and seeing how that can help me be better at whatever game we're playing. Like, I'm very focused on learning The Walking Dead right now, because I really want to get a Walking Dead game going, but I've had some challenges with that. Candela Obscura, we start up next Monday, our second event for that. And I've got a Thursday Candela Obscura. So I like that game a lot. It's a lot of fun. I'm waiting for the rules for Daggerheart, which I should be getting pretty soon. Cool. And as a responsible professional GM, storyteller, whatever moniker I put on myself, what I'm struggling with is the idea of note-taking in general, right? And I'm going to say it. Players fucking suck at note-taking. 99% of them suck. The 1% that do become the tool of the group. The rest of the group goes, oh, that person will take notes. It'll be fine.
Yep.
Right? And the chat there, I know 3 miles. There's a little bit of you in my mind, but this is not meant to disparage anybody. This is more of a, how can I, as a professional storyteller, do a better job of recognizing that gap in the play that's going on, right? Because
recognizing the gap that is left by the lack of good note taking.
Yeah, not only by the lack of good note taking, but what else can I do to help that note taking be simplified? Should I do better recaps? Should I mitigate my lore? Is the lore too deep, and therefore people are getting frustrated in the play because they feel overwhelmed by the notes, right? So part of my rant brain, I erase notes.
Why do you?
So part of my rant brain is trying to be that tropey
your rat
GM. Rant.
Oh, but you said rat
brain. Well, if you turn up your fucking hearing aids, you might be able to fucking hear something.
My God, these are on. No, I'm just kidding.
So the tropey storytelling label is
Yeah.
I'm the pity me GM, right? Oh, pity me, pity me. Why isn't everyone taking these amazing notes of all this hard work? I don't want to be that guy or that person, right? But I have a responsibility to make sure that at least I understand what's going on so that
I
I
was just
that I
gonna
can get
say,
better.
I agree with this. Don't ever mitigate the lore
But
and
I
roll
think
for it. Because
sometimes you kind of have to. I think sometimes you kind of have to. I think sometimes you got to read the room.
This coming from, well, don't mitigate the lore. Maybe mitigate the extent to which you serve it up. Frequency.
Like, yeah, the frequency. That's a good. That was kind of reflective. So like so what I've started to do to help me get better at this is when I recap my sessions, I do a audio video recap.
Okay.
And that audio video recap includes imagery, summation, you know, to mock them.
So Gary is very good at doing recaps.
Yeah.
Jeff is really good at taking notes, but we still miss a lot of stuff.
Well, 3 Miles is really good at taking notes. So
Gary's very good at doing recaps. But also, what is it? Iberg? Who is that? Said is make them roll for it. If it's really a point that they can't remember, then just say make an intelligence check or something.
Well, that brings up another counterpoint to this fun conversation. Okay. There are maybe in a single game, there's maybe at least 40 or 50 missed lore points because of rolls. So there's been lore trails, and sometimes if you're not careful, they can create false tangents that weren't meant to be created. I mean, in the sense that
hold on a second.
It could be destructive.
I'm going to call you out on this because here we've got a GM who pretends to be extremely narrative and story driven and letting the characters drive the story. So if they go on a tangent because they're not taking good notes.
No. That's not what I'm saying at all. You got that completely wrong.
Okay,
completely wrong. This is where you find yourself doing a lot of prep. Yeah. Right? In general, framework prep, content prep, and stuff like that. You've created a plate of spaghetti that's supposed to serve up a meal. If they do shitty rolls, half the noodles disappear, and now it's top ramen. So the very nature of narrative and the very nature of lore-driven play has its own kind of but once again, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the confines of what's going on.
Yeah.
Self-destructing where nobody intended it to happen, not the GM or not the storyteller, not the player. All of a sudden, we're all looking at each other across the table going, what the fuck just happened? You know? So, yeah, I get that. But that's
improv, dude.
But I understand that's improv. But if you're on session 62,
yeah,
and an entire thing collapses around you that you weren't planning for, it creates some challenges in general. And none of the players will ever notice it. This is all about my OCD and my attention to detail that is suffering from something that I didn't plan for.
So
period.
I can't. It's like we've swapped roles here.
Swapped roles. I'm sorry. Am I 102 and being crazy? I missed that part. Did I miss that part?
No, because
so there I was playing in my roll 20 and
way too loud. No, because I get where you're coming from, and again, maybe I'm transforming more, or evolving more than I thought, because I totally get where you're coming from, like, and that's why I do the maps that I do. It's like well, no, that's a bit of a contradiction. I do that to support where I want them to go, so that I am ready for slight deviations, so that I can get them back on track.
But it's not the deviations that bother me, because the deviations are actually to the earlier point of creating sub arcs and side quests from the attempted deviations. It's when you realize you dropped lore in session 12.
Yeah.
And then a thread is reconnecting to that in session 72. That happens in my games. And I've noticed a couple times I've had to go all the way back and go, oh, fuck, that's not right. That wasn't right for me to do that 18 months ago.
So so you're saying that you are relying on your players to take better notes so that you know where the fuck the story is going.
No, I think the players that do take good notes, right? The players that do take good notes. So I get your pun there, buddy. I'm so gonna have a rant cam ready for next week. The players that do take good notes, I shouldn't be relying on them. Reach out to some of my good note takers and say, hey, my OneNote fucked up and it didn't save a chapter I was working on. Do you remember when we did this? And then they say, yeah, my notes said this. I said, okay, that's right. Let me put that back into the tab where that used to be.
Okay.
But I think as a professional storyteller, I'm very, very mindful of the fact that if I dropped lore on you 18 months ago, and I'm tying that loose end up because you rolled an amazing investigative roll or some kind of roll that, because you know me, I like to use that sliding difficulty check.
Yeah.
Then I better fucking tie it up for you. And I don't like it when those things break down.
Okay, so I guess I miss, and I'm not trying to be a dick. I guess I'm missing the point.
Well, yeah, because you're inherently lazy. You don't care that much about notes.
No, shut up. No, I'm missing the sticking point because it sounds.
Oh no, it's not a sticking point. I'm just saying that in the world of playing a lot, which is the world I live in, I play a lot, right? Whether it's Candela, D&D, hopefully Walking Dead. I really want to learn how to play Aliens. I think that's an amazing lore. I'd love to get another Shadowrun game going. Right. So as I get to play a lot with a lot of different players, I'm beginning to realize I have to be reticent that just because the lore is in my head and just because the lore is written down, it's very, very presumptive of me to assume that it makes sense to everyone automatically.
I see what you're saying. Okay, so
you're putting
the onus on you, not your players.
Even though I started off by being a little bit cringy and ranty about pissy.
Yeah. So basically, you're saying this is something you struggle with.
I struggle with it because if every single player was an excellent note taker, I probably wouldn't struggle.
Okay,
it wouldn't be an issue. But because I have to be realistic about people that play at the table, I need to be cognizant of that fact.
So
that I should build that into how I prepare.
So the moral is your stupidity is predicated on your players' horrible organizational skills. We're going to need more than just a rant cam. We're going to need a fuck you cam.
See, I to Dragon's point, I'm a 75% good note taker. I would be happy with 50 on average for players.
Okay. All kidding aside.
But I have players that'll show up and go, hey Jason, I don't fucking remember anything from last week. Can you just tell us? And I'm like, sure. You all died last week. You remember?
I get it. And all kidding aside, I do get where you're coming from. What I have found, and maybe somebody else can shed some wisdom, but one of the things that I have found helps me is, we have another chatter in our Instagram feed, Ravinder Kumar Pas. Oh, nice. Okay, thank you. Nice thing. Welcome aboard. Is that I've started to develop timelines for myself.
Right.
Okay. Rather than a whole narrative story of notes, more of like a graph or a timeline of not only lore of my world, like this happened here, this happened here, this happened here, but also a timeline of the campaign itself. So almost like bullet points in a linear fashion. And I find that sometimes all it takes is just a a title like they're up to their asses in swamp water, and then it's like, oh, okay, I remember that encounter from 2 years ago that was
Right.
based on this bit of lore. So, that's something that helped me. I also, again, when I like with this homebrew that I'm writing, I'm kind of writing it as I go along.
Right.
So after, when something works at the table, I'm excited enough that I've written, with the help of my players, another chunk of this homebrew adventure that I then go back and just, it's not like forcing myself to do it from a note standpoint. It's like, I'm writing this adventure, so let me write it all down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, good point.
So
I
think
think it's just become more reticent to me because I'm running so many games. I think if I step
well,
back
I still don't know
my-
how you run so many games and keep your head from exploding.
If I step back into my old shoes and I was only running 2 or 3 games at the brewery,
Mhm.
I treated it very differently.
Yeah.
A lot of times. In fact,
Yeah.
the physical play, sometimes players would show up with journals and they're journaling their character along with journaling their notes and doing art while they're at the table.
Yeah.
Carolyn, who plays in my Monday games in the studio, she's an amazing note taker.
Yeah.
She'll wait till we're done and she'll wait until everyone else is gone and go, hey, Jason, I wrote these things down. Can we talk about them?
Wow.
I'm like, yeah, and that's when I begin to realize.
And you're like, no, because I don't remember anything I wrote from before 2 months ago.
Well, sometimes that happens, especially if the beer is flowing. But I think that just reminded me at that moment that I need to stop worrying about what the players are doing and just make sure they're having fun. Is what it reminded me.
Yeah, and like I said, maybe instead of maybe write out your lore, almost like if you were to take your campaign that you're running,
yes,
and write a summarization. If you were going to turn it into a novel, I don't know how you write. Some people write novels.
That's kind of what I've been experimenting with the past couple months. Taking all that, my OneNote is literally 3,000 pages of content.
Yeah. But do it in a way that you can reference it back. Here's a structure. Here's an outline. Here's a timeline. Here's the pantheon.
More importantly, actually use the OneNote tools that was designed for and create interlinks.
Interlinked cells. It's the second week in a row. Now I gotta go watch Blade Runner again. I think just some higher level summarization might help that. So, but because I do get where you're coming from. So,
well, we did it again, Bri.
I know.
We showed up without either one of us knowing what we're going to talk about, and I got to tell you, way more interesting than season 1 and 2. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that's why we're doing it. It's growing on me. I'm coming around.
Well, there's lots of shit growing on you. I don't know about that.
That's gross.
So where can they find you, Bri?
They could find me sitting at this desk 24 hours a day, 7 days a week doing nothing. No, I'm just kidding. Find me at RPG & Co. over on Instagram.
Yeah, I believe it's right there in front of you.
Right there. God, I still have not perfected this skill. It's right there.
right over there.
Also, visit the website, playrpgandco.com. The shirts are on there, and also a whole mess of other shit. Check that out, and then Linktree also, RPG & Co. Has all of my other links. But Instagram's the best place to reach out. I want to thank everybody in the chat for joining. That's just awesome. I feel it feels like the olden days when we had more than one person talking to us. But no, seriously, all kidding aside, you guys make the show like 3x as good as it is when you're not here. So.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can find me over at Linktree TTRPG Academy. You can find that down in the social link there, or you can head over to Twitch to TTRPG Academy and look for all the abouts. And you know what, Bri? TPK.
Tell a story.
Play a game.
And be kind.
Good night, everybody.
All right. See you next week.